Hello and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Box Seats. I'm Mark Warwood. 7 races at Belmont on Wednesday. Let's have a look at the likely conditions. We're expecting a wet day, a possible storm around 17 degrees Celsius. I think the track's going to be soft, maybe a soft 6, and the rail, well, it will definitely be in the 15-metre position. Race number 1 at Belmont on Wednesday will jump at 1:14. It's the Iron Jack Handicap over 1,000 metres. The replay horse can look at 2 starts ago, League of Nations winning.
Comes away from the heels of League of Nations. Atacama Sky bides its time. Then on the outside, you know what I mean, and Firemaker getting home down near the rails. But League of Nations at his WA debut, shown the Persuader at the 200 from Guns of Navarone. Firemaker running out of room down on the inside at the 100. League of Nations in front. Now Firemaker gets into the clear. League of Nations clinging on, however, and League of Nations.
That was a very good WA debut by League of Nations. Chris Gaines Demi-Jard are in fantastic form. Decided not to show the replay of its last start. That was at Pinjarra Park. He came back with an elevated heart rate. He was on the speed in what was a very fast run race won by Sharp Bulk. I think you can put a pen through that, go back to that Class 3 win 2 starts ago. This is a Class 1. It's arguably the easiest race he's encountered since he moved west. I think he should be odds on to win the first. Goes on top from number 3, Strip the Moon. Did win a weak maiden for mine. First up, beating Seconda Vita by a length and a quarter. Led all the way, does plenty wrong this horse both before and after the race. Is open to improvement and gets a gear change in the Bubble Chica. Then we've got 2, Clever Dick, having its first run for 12 weeks. Hasn't had a trial. Did break its maiden over 1,200. I think he probably prefers 14. This is 1,000. And then number 4, Nibelian, first up of 22 weeks without a trial, but does get a gear change at the lugging bit. On top selection in race number 1, I'm going to go with number 1, League of Nations, to beat 3, Strip the Moon, 2, Clever Dick, and 4, Nibelian. Race number 2 at Belmont on Wednesday will jump at 1:49. It's the Merriwell Handicap over 1,000 metres. The replay horse can look at the first up run on debut of Friar's Fancy last preparation.
Nicely on the turn and got away from them. So Torretija railed well. It leads bar length. Magic Opus is coming after it now. And they're being followed by Friar's Fancy, who's back on the inside. And the rest are being headed by Reaction. Torretija, can it keep going? They're starting to come at it though. Coming through now, Friar's Fancy with a good run. Friar's Fancy has raced up. Magic Opus going with it, but Friar's Fancy in front. And Friar's Fancy is...
Thought that was a good debut win by Friar's Fancy. That was over 1,100 metres. Second up was at Pinjarra over 1,300. And was a little bit too far for this horse. Has had a break, resumes without a trial, gets William Pike from barrier 7. I think that is an interesting jockey booking to say the least here. And if you go through the collateral form lines involving a horse called Magic Opus, who we saw in the replay race, I do think you can rate Friar's Fancy at least equal to Is That Right, who is the likely favourite. So number 2 goes on top. From number 1, Is That Right? He's first up off the 1 trial. Thought it was an okay effort on the rails under Peter Nucky. He rides the horse on Wednesday. I think only first up last preparation was its poor effort. Has been either winning or close up in its last 6 starts. Clearly he's got the best form in the book, but only goes in for second here. Number 7, Z-Storm, is a debutant after 6 trials, 2 of them recently for the Jim Taylor and Ryan Hill combination. Has clearly had a few issues with the wet weather in recent weeks, caused it to miss a few of the trials. They paid $30,000 for this horse. And then number 3, Demi Go Round, first up without a trial for Rebecca Shanks, previously with Fiona Dukas up at Geraldton. Yet to place in 6 city starts. Best was a 4th here at Belmont in its last preparation. On top selection in race number 2, we're going to go with number 2, Friar's Fancy, to beat 1, Is That Right, 7, Z-Storm, and 3, Demi Go Round. Race number 3 at Belmont on Wednesday will jump at 2:24. It's the Glenride Chaff Handicap over 1,000 metres. The replay horse is the top one, Metro Boy, finishing 6th last start.
Pippa's in front, Fire and Rain on the outside, Flirtini gets to the middle now, and then Metro Boy, 7 Castles, is on the outside. Agent Pippa the leader from Fire and Rain. Here's 7 Castles and Flirtini both putting in their runs, but still Agent Pippa in front from Fire and Rain. Agent Pippa, Fire and Rain. Now Flirtini winds up brilliantly late. Kakadu also, but Flirtini hit the front, and Flirtini was hard work, but it got the money.
This looks like a good opening for Metro Boy to break through and break his maiden. Really good trial, then was a little bit disappointing first up, it has to be said, behind Double Bubble, beaten 2.5 lengths. And then last start that we saw in replay, only beat 1 home, but didn't see any daylight in the straight under Peter Nucky. William Pike takes over on Wednesday for the Daniel Morton trained gelding, and I think he'll be very hard to beat here. But do respect number 2, that's Stares and Whispers. First up of 2 trials, they've both been really good as well, behind Crystal Dane and Regal Power. As gear changes on Wednesday, Tongue Tie Off and Winkers Off has no headgear for the first time in its career, as over-raced both of its starts. But certainly did like the trials here for the horse in those famous colours of Vega Magic. Then pretty big gap to number 7, Schimmel. Blinkers on first time. Didn't mind its trial. I thought that was easily its best performance either in a race or in a preparatory run last time. Had heat stress on debut, was crowded, bumped and unbalanced last time out, so certainly open to improvement. And then number 6, Princess Shari's trial twice, comes from the Morton Yard that's got the likely favourite here. I have liked both the trials. I think this horse will probably win a race, but not on Wednesday. On top selection in race number 3, going to go with number 1, Metro Boy, to beat 2 Stares and Whispers, 7 Schimmel and 6 Princess Shari. Race number 4 at Belmont on Wednesday will jump at 2:59. It is the Tab Touch Maiden over 1,400 metres. The replay horse, look at the bottom one here, I'm Pretty, finishing second on debut at Northern.
Up 4 deep, alluring just behind them, and Call Me Ali is back last of all. In the straight, Zephyr Queen is really vulnerable here. Axela right, Suspectus joined in strongly now. So Suspectus has raced up. Zephyr Queen's trying to come back. Coming through as well as I'm Pretty. Back on the inside was Sharky. Axela right trying to dig in again, and Call Me Ali down the outside. Suspectus those in front. It's leading the way from I'm Pretty coming late. Zephyr Queen the inside, but Suspectus in front, and Suspectus has won from...
I'm Pretty is a new 3-year-old taking on the older horses, but I do think that Adam Durant has found a good opportunity here for the Dash for Cash filly. Lovely grey horse, hence why she's probably got the name I'm Pretty. Beautiful looking galloper. She got the idea in the latter stages on debut, hits in the front just after the winning post under Peter Nucky. He keeps the ride here, just 53.5 kilos. I do think it's a pretty shallow maiden, and I think she'll be winning. She goes on top from number 2, Lucky Escape. Second up on Wednesday, was held up slightly last time out, did come home with the second fastest last 200 when clear, beating the likes of Always Easy and Black Shadow, who reoppose him here, and Sean McGrady keeps the ride. Then number 1, Fair Joy, who Shooter rode last start. That was at Belmont when he finished third. Was well beaten by Lucky Escape in a trial back in January. And then we got number 6, The Last Waltz, from a wide gate here, resuming off a trial behind Our Mate Boots. Had 4 minor placings from 6 starts last preparation, including a second at Ascot over 1,500 metres. If it wasn't for the gate, I'd have to Last Waltz a little bit further up the numbers. As it is race number 4, we're going to go with number 13, I'm Pretty, to beat 2 Lucky Escape, 1 Fair Joy and 6 The Last Waltz.